and welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. Today I am returning to my 1/48 scale Hangmans Halt build. Now this is a property in the Dead End collection by Petite Properties, and last time it wasn't going so well. I've definitely had a few issues with the paint on this one, but never mind, the show must go on, and indeed the build must go on. Since last time I have put another coat of paint on the outside of the house. I just did this to just start things moving along again. I need to put some more paint around the edges because it really soaks in well there, and the main focus of this build, certainly in the first place, is going to be the front. I'm going to see how I get on with doing that, and then maybe we'll do something a bit more, I don't know, but yeah, so I'm going to put this bit aside and we'll get the front and all the little bits, and we'll see what we can do. The front panel has had two coats of the same paint as the main body of the house. Obviously, because of the way these are designed to stand in a row, the actual structure of the house isn't going to be so noticeable. So the main impact is going to be on this front panel, and also because the front panel is removable, I've just painted the inside with the same colour, and I've realised that it hadn't actually dried properly and it's left a mark on my desk, but hey ho, we shall wipe that up and we shall address that in a moment. So obviously I've got to put all the details on this. I have added another coat of paint to the bits of the windows and the door. I need to figure out which bit actually makes up the balcony, because I'm going to need to paint that. But yeah, that'd be a very good thing to do, wouldn't it, to figure that one out. I've painted all the bits of the windows, the trim that goes across the top, that kind of thing. I've got the gallows. I think it's a gallows. It's a thing that the noose hangs from, yes, which sticks out from the front. That's going to need to be painted. I need to decide if I'm going to do that in the same colour as the house or not. And I've got some front steps to paint, so I think I need to identify those parts and let this finish drying. I found the other pieces that I had forgotten that I was going to need, and I've given them a preliminary coat of paint, and I'm going to start work on the windows. That's what we're going to do. Now the windows are in a number of pieces. There's actually two that make up the main piece, plus a piece of acetate. And then there's another piece that goes on the outside, which gives you your shutters and your frame details. So we're going to start off with these, and I need the correct acetate. And my first task is to stick the acetate into place. And this is just going to be a case of putting some glue around the outsides of this piece on the unpainted side, the reason for which will become clear later on. Now you don't have to paint them beforehand, but obviously once you've stuck them together, it gets far more complicated. Once you've stuck it together, you've got the fact that you're going to have to clean glue off of your acetate. Now I've got two windows on this house, So we've got to repeat the process twice, and I'll just do this one while I'm waiting for that to dry enough that the glue, is going to hold the acetate while I put the other piece on top. So you just need to and then obviously that one needs to dry too. Now this should now be secure enough that it won't fall off. It won't. And I need to put some glue on the reverse side again. So we're putting unpainted to unpainted. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this around the edge. You could probably stick it by putting glue on all the window bars if you wanted, but it's not going to be messed with that much, so I think I can get away with this. No, by all means add as much glue as you want. This just means I've got less to tidy up. So the piece that I've got here has got a marking on it, which is where I need to line this piece up, and if I get this right I can do it fairly easily. And we can get a spare cocktail stick and just go in and clear up these little bits of glue. I'm not too bothered about the little bits of glue, they'll just look like dirt in the corner of the windows. That is how the window basically goes together. And then I think this goes through from that side, and then the outside piece fits around the outside of the window hole. The paint that I've used for these windows is not the best for coverage. This is what I was having problems with in part one of this. But that said, it sort of looks a bit pre-distressed, so I'm going to take it as such. I'm going to finish off the second window, and then we are going to repeat the process with the doors, which is a little bit more complicated because there's a few more bits, but I'll be back in a moment. The door is going together in a pretty similar way to the windows. Now the glass on this is only the top two panels, so I've got to remember not to put my glue all the way down and to push that up so that I've already just stuck the first one on, and I've just realised that it has just overrun the bottom, which I don't really want because we've got like a panelled door effect. That's all stuck to my finger. So I'm going to take my glazing piece, put it to the top, and again it's sort of hanging down a bit. It's not ideal. I think I'm going to try and peel that up a little. I'm going to peel this side up, and I am going to snip the tiniest little bit off the bottom because it is hanging down and I don't want it hanging down. Now hopefully there's enough glue still on there. We'll put a little bit more at the bottom because that's where I just peeled it up from. No, it doesn't want to come back up. That's good. I don't need to put any more on. I thought I was going to have to put a little bit extra. And then that gives me my glazed upper part to my door. Now, the inside panels of the door obviously go on top of that. And now I need to start with the other one. That one has had glue on it longer. And again, it's a case of lining up the bars, the glazing bars, so that you get everything sandwiched nicely and not all over the place, so to speak. So plenty of glue on this bottom bit, and I've just realised I need to paint the inside of that panel, and I've just put glue on it. I'm not doing very well today, folks. Right, I'm going to take that glue off. I am going to take that glue off and give it a rub because it will. And I'm going to put the glue around here. There is so much on my mind at the moment with the idea of having to pack up my craft space. I'm not looking forward to that fact. We've been happily established in this room for a couple of years now, and yeah, I don't want to think about it. I know I've got to, and yeah, I've got a lot more stuff than I had the last time I packed it. I wasn't so into the miniatures at that point. The doll's house, actually the doll's house didn't move with me. For various reasons, my doll's house was in storage away from where I was living before I lived here. And yeah, we went and fetched it once we were settled. And then of course I've added to the collection, added these lovely smaller houses which I absolutely adore. And keep adding to. I've actually had another delivery arrive this morning, which is some bits for a future project. As if I hadn't got enough to move. I'm buying bits for a future project, but a building add-on that I wanted has come back in stock, and I decided to grab it while I could. So I've turned it over, and as you can see, I've got to touch in those panels now because my brain just hasn't worked. Now this piece has got to be glued on as well at this point, and this is going round the frame of the door. So I'm going to carefully apply glue to the frame. These thin pieces are my least favourite for gluing because you haven't got any room for overhang. You haven't got any room to just go down the middle and let the glue sort of find its own place. You have to be so careful. And I am thinking that maybe working in this scale at the moment was not my best idea. But at the same time, I also thought, well, it's small. It means I only have to leave out a few items. Yeah, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should just admit defeat and put the channel on holiday for a while. I'm trying to keep the videos coming. It is not easy though. So there's the door. Obviously I need to add in the extra bits, and then it will fit through like that once it's all painted. And then there's another frame that goes around the outside of that. So I'm going to go off and paint these, and then we'll move on to the other bits that have got to be stuck on the front of the house. The next step is the front, and the first thing I need to do is to stick the piece on at the bottom, which forms the bottom step. Now I am going to add some glue to the tab on it, and I'm going to add a little bit more glue to the back side of these two pieces, just to try and make sure that it gets the best hold possible. Now this needs to be held at a 90-degree angle so that it is nice and flat once it's done. Now you'll notice that I haven't actually painted all of it. That's because not all of it is going to be visible, and I'm trying to reduce the amount of paint, glue, etc. that I've got to try and compensate for with flat pieces. So if I turn that up the right way, that is then going to be, yeah, that's okay. That should do nicely. So that can dry there. And the next piece that's got to go in place is the balcony. Now the balcony is fitting into this slot in the middle, and I've realised I haven't painted that edge. I'm not doing very well today, am I, folks? I've got to paint the edge of that one again. I think I did paint it, but I don't think it's taken particularly well. The edges of this MDF don't always take the paint very well because the laser cutting leaves it burnt, and so it takes a bit more of an effort to get it to take the paint. So I will be adding some more paint to this once it's in situ. Obviously I've got to age it, which is going to be fun. I know it's necessary, it's certainly necessary on these properties, but it's not my most favoured job. And somebody's child is screaming blue murder outside. I'm not sure why. I don't know if my microphone will pick it up, and if it does, I do apologise. I don't think it's actually injured itself, in pain, etc. I think it's just having fun. Unlike me, who doesn't feel like they're having fun at the moment. So I'm going to take off the excess glue because, well, you have to. This amount of glue at this scale is going to look quite noticeable. So I just keep turning it round and looking at it from different angles. Obviously, as I say, I can cover so much of it up with a bit of paint when I distress it, but not all of it. Now, the next piece to go in is the gallows, which the paint's taken quite well on one side and not on the other. So this goes in to the front like this, and yeah, I think I need to put glue along this little tab at the top. Just a minor amount, and then down the back. So we'll pop that on there like that, and then we'll see if we can't get this. As I say, I've got a lot of touching up to do on this. I'm hoping that's straight. Now if I get the next piece of this and put this to place there, that should give me my location. I'm trying to be clever. Take that bit back out because it doesn't need to be there yet, and we will tidy up a bit. It is what I spend most of my life doing, is tidying up a bit. Now I could have gone with painting this brown, but I've gone for the same kind of grey that I've gone for on the windows and the building trim. Mostly because I want there to be a certain degree of cohesion between the properties. Now this can go aside, and I need to stick these two pieces together. Now this is the upper steps and the platform for underneath the gallows. Wouldn't be a very effective gallows because there is no drop. You really need a trapdoor for that, or my knowledge of history tells me that somebody would have to hang off the person's legs, which really doesn't sound nice in the least. So yeah, these go together, flat against there and flat against each other, and just get held so they stick. And that needs to dry and then be stuck into place on the front. So I'm going to pause my camera here and possibly assess what I move on to next. I'm not sure what the next step is. The new page of the instructions, and I want to read back over it again before I start doing anything with you. Since I recorded the last bit, some time's gone past and I have put some more paint on the bits that I've attached to the outside of the front panel. I've also put a bit of paint on the inside, which you probably can tell on that one, but it's not so obvious on those. The edges sometimes take quite a bit of paint, and I will be touching that up at various points so that it gets a better coverage. Obviously now the next step is to add the details, and you start on the inside, which is difficult when you've got so much sticking out bits on the front. But I'm going to start with the windows, and they just fit in from this side. So I've got to put some glue around these outside bits, which is going to be easier said than done because it's where the excess acetate is, and I'm not feeling very nimble fingered today. See, I'm knocking things, but I want to get this done. I really want to get some more progress made on this house, just because progress on the full-sized house is full-sized house, yeah, the real house, the big project, is still fairly slow, and I can actually see what I'm doing when I do this. I'm not reliant on other people, and I'm not working on top of other people either. That is the one thing I've realised about real home renovations, is you either have to take things very, very slowly because you're doing things single-handedly, or you're working around people and yeah, everybody gets in everybody else's way, and then you can't do your job because they've just done that job and you do your job, and it's going to make a mess of everything. Oh dear, such is life though, such is life. I will actually be starting to film something soon, which will be another vlog. It will actually be coming out probably not long after this video, I don't know. And that's going to be a vlog on putting the craft space back together. I know that some people were quite interested to see where I'm working and filming at the moment, and I'm going to be showing you the new space. I've actually shared some photos already over on my Facebook page, and yeah, just a bare shell of a room. It doesn't look like that at the moment. It's ready for decorating, and that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, is decorating the craft room. The problem is, a house this size, I can decorate the house in an afternoon. I know it's going to take me a bit longer to do the craft room. The next piece is the doors, which I have realised, again, I haven't touched up that one little bit, but hey ho, and I haven't put another coat on the doors where I missed it. Oh well. There's always lots of bits of paintwork to touch up. I'm going to, again, glue around the edges. And I didn't explain as I was doing those because I was too busy talking. But you just fit them into place from the back through to the front. And what this means is you get that sort of quite natural looking setback on the windows and the doors that gives them a nice finish. So let's now get you into there and push that in. And yeah, and we'll just go around and tidy up the glue. Here we are. That's the view from the front, and that's looking pretty good already. Obviously now I've got the frames to attach, so that's going to be the next step, but you can see what it looks like with the doors and the windows in. And actually, looking at it in situ, I don't think I'm going to put extra paint on the door panels. Not the same colour, I'm just going to age it a bit. I'm going to start with the external door frame, and again it's more of the same. Most of these pieces are just glue around the edge, stick into the right place. And to be fair, this is actually, although this is the point at which the building starts to get its character, it is also a bit on the boring side as far as showing you what's going on, because it's just glue, stick, glue, stick. So if I turn this round, this is the brilliant thing about working at this scale, and this is the one thing that I have taken away from full-sized renovations, is if I've got a difficult corner to get into, I just turn the building over. Even with my big house, there are bits, the basement, etc., where I can stick the house upside down, stick it on its side. Thank you very much. But not with the real thing. I wish I could. The shutters frames I'm just sticking on. You could, I think, do them the other way so that they're actually usable. Well, they're not really, are they? So I think I've got it the right way around. Actually, I think they've got them like that, so they're sort of part open, but I don't want that. If they'll actually stick in place. But I think I checked before I painted them. Yeah, they will go and just about fit side by side. That's the kind of look I want, rather than them sticking out. It's just not my it's just not my cup of tea, really. It's not my style. I want something that's in place. This building I want to look like it's been cared for a bit more than the previous one, although not updated in many years. I like coming up with background stories, and I didn't actually come up with a background story for the owners of the previous one, of number 13, which is done as my sort of spooky kind of a shop, simply because it didn't occur to me. I just wanted a spooky shop. This one, however, I've got more of an idea, and with it being called Hangmans Halt, I decided that this came from a time when there was a hangman, but that it was an hereditary position. However, the last hangman only had a daughter, and although under their tradition she could have married somebody to become the next hangman. Before she did marry anybody, the position was discontinued, and she's just lived there in the Hangmans Halt ever since. Maybe now it's a bit of a museum, so that people come to the bottom to find out more about the people that the hangman dealt with. I don't know. But my what's it with that was that the interior was pretty much as it was when she was a child. But she's grown up, just hasn't bothered to modernise, because there's been no reason. Oh, that's good. I didn't get glue anywhere I didn't want it. And then here I'll actually use this shutter to line the windows up, hoping that the shutters are about even on each side. Now this just needs a little bit of holding in place, and I'm going to clean it up and then I'll be right back. We are down to the final pieces to go on the outside, and those are the railing for the balcony, which is going to go on there obviously, and then the the little bit of trim that goes along the top, which covers up quite neatly the bits that attach it to the front. This is a really clever aspect of these properties. I am impressed by it, and it did make me wonder when I was building the first one, oh well, that's going to look a bit messy. No, it isn't. You just haven't understood what you're building. So this fits onto here like so, and then I've got the little piece of trim which gives it its detail, and this has got to have a nice amount of glue over all of it. I do hate these fiddly little pieces. That sounds really stupid since I'm working at 1/48 scale, but I do. These little fiddly bits, I'm always convinced I'm going to drop one and I'm going to lose it. These aren't quite as bad as some of the bits on the furniture, but I am always aware when I'm building the furniture that I could just drop something and never ever see it again. Now I could have stuck this into place before I put it onto the building, but I didn't. And I just got a bit of glue to clear up there, and a little bit there, and yeah, that looks quite good. I like that. And then it's this piece, which is the balcony bits. So I'll put a bit on here because that's going to go against the wall, and a bit on the other end obviously, and then it's just these bits in them underneath. There is a whole degree of patience required when you are working in this scale. Things come together so quickly. You can build a house in a few hours, depending on the level of finish that you want, but you can actually have something that looks like a house within not very long, quite easily. But when you get to the fiddly bits, it takes its time. So I've got to hold this in place now, and I will do that and make sure it stays, and then I'll look at what else we've got to do, which I think basically now is the roof. So I'm going to look at how long I've got on this video as well, and see if I'm pushing it a bit much, or if we've got time to include the roof today. So I'll be back. I've put the front onto the house and I have dry fitted the roof. I've also put in place up here the little bell tower that will actually be further forward on the roof once it's done, but obviously it's not glued together or anything. There's even an actual little metal bell that I will need to hang within the bell tower, but for the moment it'll do like this. Now I'm going to go for a metal effect roof on this property. That is, I'm going to put some thin strips of cardstock to make it look like you've got those little I don't know what they're called, the little raised bits. It's a similar technique that I used on the Raven's Perch property, but I'm going to, I think I'm going to go and do a bit of this off camera, and then I'll come back when there's actually something a bit more interesting. Now if I take the bits out of the way, I'll just show you the roof. The roof is obviously flat and needs gluing together. There's a lot of holding with this one, so that's why I'm going to do it off camera and maybe put a coat of paint on it, and then I can show you the more interesting part. But it is as simple as putting glue along the edges and holding them in place. It's a bit fiddly, and yeah, so onto the roof. I have put the roof together and I've done my little decorative bits. Now this actually took me quite some time, and I've only done the front and side. I haven't bothered with the back. I'm just going to paint that. All these little strips are individual strips of paper, which is maybe 1.5mm, not very big. I just cut it by eye, and then I've gone over it with some little bits around the edges, which I haven't covered all the pieces where I wanted them to, I've just realised. Now obviously the next step for this is going to be painting, but I think that's going to take a while and I'm running out of time today. So I'm probably going to leave this video here now. And I have also stuck the bell tower together. Again, this is going to need paint, and it's mostly the edge, so it's going to take a few coats. I've got a roof to go on the little bell tower, which I will finish in the same colour as this roof, although I'm not bothering putting the paper strips on, and I will paint this in the same colour as the building. So as I say, I think I'm going to leave this here, and hopefully by the time I come back to you I will have at least put the base coat of paint on the roof and on the bell tower, and the bell tower will go on the roof like that, and we'll have something approaching a building that is ready for distressing. Yes, we'll be able to distress it and get on with the inside, which is the fun bit. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and maybe even ring the notification bell so you know when I upload a video. I upload videos most weeks, normally on a Friday, but I never promise anything. Real life gets in the way, and I wouldn't want to disappoint anybody. However, until next time, bye.